Have you ever wondered about the land of poets, ancient kings, and stunning turquoise domes? A place whose history is so rich and deep it can feel almost mythical? Today we're journeying through time to explore the epic story of Iran, a civilization that has shaped the world for thousands of years. From the mighty Persian Empire to the modern nation we know today, get ready for a whirlwind tour of one of history's most fascinating sagas. Our story begins over 3,000 years ago, not with an empire, but with nomadic tribes migrating onto the Iranian plateau. Among them were the Medes and the Persians. The Medes were the first to establish a kingdom, but it was a Persian visionary named Cyrus the Great who would change everything. Around 550 BC, Cyrus united the Medes and Persians, founding the Achaemenid Empire. This wasn't just any empire. It was the world's first superpower. At its peak, it stretched from the Balkans in Europe to the Indus Valley in India. Cyrus was famous not just for his military genius, but for his revolutionary approach to governance. He respected the cultures and religions of the peoples he conquered, a policy immortalized on the Cyrus cylinder, which some consider the world's first charter of human rights. His successors, like Darius the Great, continued to expand and organize this vast territory. Darius built the magnificent city of Persepolis, a symbol of imperial power and architectural brilliance. He also introduced standardized coinage, a postal system, and the famous Royal Road, which connected the empire and facilitated trade and communication like never before. The Achaemenid era was a golden age of art, culture, and innovation. But every great power faces challenges. The Persian Empire famously clashed with the Greek city-states in a series of conflicts known as the Greco-Persian Wars. Think of the Battle of Marathon and the heroic stand of the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae. While the Persians were ultimately checked in their westward expansion, their empire remained a dominant force for another century and a half. Then came Alexander the Great. In the 330s BC, the young Macedonian king launched a breathtaking campaign that brought the Achaemenid Empire to its knees. The burning of Persepolis by Alexander's troops marked a dramatic end to this glorious chapter of Persian history. After Alexander's death, his empire fragmented, and Iran fell under the rule of one of his generals, Seleucus, kicking off the Seleucid era. But Greek rule didn't sit well with the Iranian spirit. A new native power soon rose from the northeast, the Parthians. These skilled horsemen and archers drove out the Seleucids and established an empire that would become Rome's greatest rival in the east. For nearly 500 years, the Parthian and Roman empires were locked in a constant struggle for dominance, with the border shifting back and forth. The Parthians were masters of cavalry tactics, famously employing the Parthian shot, feigning retreat only to turn and fire arrows at their pursuers. Around 224 AD, the Parthians were overthrown by another Persian dynasty, the Sasanians. The Sasanian Empire saw a revival of Persian culture and identity. They re-established Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, as the state faith. This period was another golden age, marked by incredible achievements in science, music, architecture, and art. Sasanian silverwork and silk textiles were prized across the ancient world. Great universities like the Academy of Gandhashapur became centers of learning, attracting scholars from as far as India and Greece. The Sasanians were a formidable military power, continuing the long-standing rivalry with Rome and later its successor, the Byzantine Empire. This vibrant Sasanian era came to an end in the mid-7th century with the arrival of a new force. From the Arabian Peninsula, the Arab armies of Islam, the conquest was swift and decisive. The fall of the Sasanian Empire marked a profound turning point in Iranian history. Islam gradually replaced Zoroastrianism as the dominant religion, and Arabic became the language of administration and scholarship for a time. However, the Persian spirit was far from extinguished. Instead of being completely absorbed, Iranian culture began to blend with Islamic traditions, creating a unique and brilliant synthesis. Persian scholars, scientists, and poets became leading figures in the Islamic Golden Age. Think of polymaths like Avicenna, whose medical encyclopedia was a standard textbook in Europe for centuries, or the mathematician Al-Khwarizmi, from whose name we get the word algorithm. And of course, there was the poetry. The Persian language itself experienced a powerful renaissance. Ferdowsi's epic poem, Shahnameh or Book of Kings, preserved the myths and pre-Islamic history of Iran in beautiful verse. God. Poets like Rumi, Hafez, and Saadi composed works of mystical and romantic beauty that are still recited and loved around the globe today. This fusion of Persian and Islamic culture defined Iran for the next several centuries, even as it was ruled by a succession of Turkic and Mongol dynasties, including the Seljuks and the devastating invasion of Genghis Khan. A new chapter began in the early 16th century with the rise of the Safavid dynasty. The Safavids were crucial in forging the modern identity of Iran. They established 12-ver Shia Islam as the official state religion, a decision that has defined Iran's religious landscape to this day and set it apart from its Sunni neighbors. Under rulers like Shah Abbas the Great, the Safavid era was a period of political and military resurgence. Shah Abbas moved the capital to Isfahan and transformed it into one of the world's most beautiful cities. Its stunning mosques, palaces, and grand square, Naqsh Jahan, are a testament to the artistic heights reached during this time. The Safavid period was a blossoming of art, architecture, and trade along the Silk Road. After the Safavids, Iran went through periods of turmoil and rule by various dynasties like the Afsharids and the Zands. By the late 18th century, the Qajar dynasty came to power. The Qajar era was a challenging time for Iran. The country found itself caught between the expanding Russian and British empires, losing territory and influence in what became known as the Great Game. Internally, there was growing discontent with the monarchy's weakness and foreign interference. This dissatisfaction boiled over into the constitutional revolution in the early 20th century, which established Iran's first parliament and constitution, marking a major step towards modernization. The Qajar dynasty was eventually replaced in 1925 by an army officer named Reza Khan, who crowned himself Reza Shah and founded the Pahlavi dynasty. Inspired by modernizers like Ataturk in Turkey, Reza Shah embarked on an ambitious program of industrialization, infrastructure development, and social reform. He built railways, established a national education system, and changed the country's international name from Persia to Iran to emphasize its Aryan roots. His rule was authoritarian, and his reforms often clashed with traditional and religious segments of society. During World War II, the Allies forced Reza Shah to abdicate in favor of his young son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The younger Shah's reign was defined by the country's vast oil wealth and its close alliance with the United States during the Cold War. He continued his father's modernization efforts with his White Revolution, a series of reforms in the 1960s. However, his rule also became increasingly autocratic. The secret police, Savak, suppressed dissent, and the gap between the westernized elite and the traditional masses widened. Discontent simmered for decades, fueled by a complex mix of economic grievances, political repression, and religious opposition led by the exiled cleric Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. In 1979, this exploded into the Iranian Revolution. The Shah was overthrown, and the monarchy was abolished, replaced by the Islamic Republic of Iran, a unique system of governance based on Khomeini's concept of clerical rule. The decades that followed have been tumultuous, marked by the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, ongoing tensions with the West, and a vibrant, complex internal political scene. From the world's first superpower to a modern Islamic republic, the history of Iran is a story of incredible resilience, cultural brilliance, and constant transformation. It's a tapestry woven with threads of empire and revolution, poetry and faith, ancient glory and modern challenges. Understanding this long and layered history is key to understanding not just Iran itself, but the world we live in today. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of our fascinating world history. See you next time.